G'day YouTubers. It's been a terrifically long wait. It has been almost 6 months to the day since I ordered it, but my Furuno TZ3-16F has finally arrived. I've had a hole in the dash for most of those 6 months waiting for it. I thought all I'd have to do was drop it in the hole, put a couple of bolts in, plug in a couple of wires and she'd be good to go. Well, life wasn't meant to be easy, but I'll explain that as the video goes on. Well, there it is. After months and months of waiting, I finally have it in my hot little hands, and I just want to savour the moment for a minute. My Furuno NavNet TZ3 16-inch screen, and typical of Furuno, the packaging is very plain. I like that because having fancy packaging might look okay in a retail setting, and I guess they think it improves sales, but I'd rather pay $20 less for the thing and have it in a plain brown box like this. There's no sense paying for packaging, not in my opinion anyway. Okay, well that's enough savouring the moment. I'm going to get something and open this up and have a look at it. Moment of truth, let's open this sucker up and see what it looks like. Oh, and typically nicely packed. Thank you, Furuno. We've got a list of what should be in the box. We have 3 metres of active sense cable, which on the face of it looks like NMEA. Yes, it is NMEA cable. So 3 metre NMEA cable, that's handy. That will be power and all other, oh no, just power. Okay, well that's good too. And cable assembly. No idea what that cable assembly is for. This says cable assembly, so that's one for the book of words. Find out what that's about. Yeah, that's the strips to help mount it, and I assume the mounting instructions are there with it. Oh, okay. There's the rest of the mounting equipment for flush mounting it in the dashboard. Oh, nice little cloth to wipe it down with. That's worth keeping on the boat. What have we got here? Oh yeah, okay. Looks like a quick start manual and a user's manual and a template for cutting it out, which I've already done. Hopefully I've done it right. Oh, there it is. That's all there is in there. Everything comes tailed, so all the cables have a tail to bring them out. That's all good. I had to advise not to have that, but at that time I didn't know whether it did or not. It'll work either way. So I'll just leave that until we get it down in the boat and start putting it in. Now, moment of truth. See if I cut this hole the right size to fit the Furuno in. Alright, get all those tails in there. Holy I didn't. How did I go wrong? That is going to take a little bit of adjustment. That's going to take a big bit of adjustment. How did I go wrong? I measured that so many times. Alright, only one thing to do is to fix it. And I'll just have to go and get some tools and stuff and try to figure out how to do that. Well, obviously I was pretty upset about the whole episode of my dashboard cutout being the wrong size for the Furuno. I couldn't understand how it happened. I'd not only measured it twice, I'd measured it a dozen times. I was absolutely certain that I had the measurements right. And in fact I did. Up on the screen now are two copies of the installation document. One I downloaded and used to make the cutout in my dashboard, and the other one I had a look at after I found that the cutout was too big. It turns out that these two copies of the document have different measurements for the cutout. Now I just grabbed the first copy that I came across when I did a Google search. I had to study the two documents for a while before I finally noticed the difference in them. The one that I used is for a multifunction TZ3-16F flush mount, which is what I wanted. However, it says flush mount F. The significance of the F didn't occur to me. When you look at the other document, it says multifunction display flush mount S. If I could read Japanese, it would probably have been quite obvious to me what the problem was. But it wasn't until I'd actually cut the wrong size hole and had to examine the documents in detail that I saw they were really different. When I'm using plans, I usually just go off the dimensions. I don't really look all that well at the pictures unless I need to get an orientation or something. So I think it's a fairly easy mistake to make, but it is a real trap. Because I had a document up there with the wrong measurements, I've had to make this piece as an infill to take up the gaps. And it's going to fit through in the cutout like that, which means I've got to glue that in with epoxy and then fill the edges of it, sand it back and repaint everything. All up, it's taking me 3 days to fix this mess and I'm pretty unhappy about it. Cost me quite a bit of money and, as I say, 3 days worth of time, which is not a happy moment for me. Fortunately, none of my words got on video, so it is what it is. It's almost done now. So I've messed up my nice dashboard again. Got a lot of sanding to do, painting. Unbelievably unhappy. But there it is. I've got the inset bogged in there now. It's not going to go anywhere. But yeah, still pretty unhappy. I'm going to take weeks to get over this. And just a short distraction here. This fellow drops in to see how my work's going every now and then. We have a little bit of a chat. A while back he used to drop in and stay for longer, and we have quite a bit of a chat going on. But he overstayed his welcome once and his missus came along screeching at him, and he flew off with her. Ever since then, he's made shorter visits. I do like to see him occasionally. He's quite a handsome fellow, and it's always fun to talk to him. Alright, well, I've got the clamps off it. It's all glued in there, nice and secure. Now I've got to go and sand it all back and paint the outside again, then paint the inside. Not happy, Jan. Well, that's the back of it, all mounted. I was going to take a video of fitting it, but the size of the cutout, as you've seen in the video, was wrong. Had the wrong file for it. So I had to make a surround, which I showed you earlier in the video, and glued that in. And then I found that because I'd had that extra thickness there, the nuts wouldn't fit. So I had to get a bloody grinder and grind that out. And oh, geez, I was cracking up. Was not a happy boy at all. As you can see from the bodgy job I did, I was really, really annoyed. Now, I'm not happy with that job, but I was just so annoyed. It had to be done, and it was getting done no matter what. Anyway, these are all spare at the moment. I don't have anything for them, and Furuno give you little covers for all the plugs that you don't use, which I thought was just great. I've got to find out. I've got something at work I think will fit that. I need to wire in the little horn I've got down here, that red thing. That's the alarm horn, so if I have an anchor drift or anything at night, it'll go off loud enough to make sure I hear it. USB hub in there, all works fine. Main Ethernet is that blue cable going back there to the DFF3D, the transducer for the TM265 and the power cable. There's an earth got to go in there that I haven't fitted yet. I'll probably do the same with this as I've done with the DFF3D and put it so it's either floating or rounded to the negative terminals. And there we go. Looking great. Can't wait to get it out on the water. Cover off that. Cover off that. And armrest, and I have complete control of it through very stable armrest here on the side. Don't know what you call it. Inside the windscreen, whatever it is. Makes a great armrest. Very stable for doing the manual thing on the Furuno. And there it is. TZ3 or TZ3 as the Americans say. Fire it up and see how it looks. Right, the moment of truth. Got everything hooked up except the earth wire, and I can test it without that. And the power there, and up comes the screen. So far so good. Just I'm giving that a few birthdays, calling it a 16-inch screen now. It's 15 point something. 15 and a half. 15 and a half. It's not a 16-inch screen, but okay, we won't quibble too much. Latest software 3.5. Right. Let's start and see what happens. What have we got? Okay, yeah, good. Got all that. Where the heck are we? Nowhere near home, that's for sure. Nowhere near Australia. There it is working. Looking pretty much exactly as I expected it to. It's been a long, hard road to get to this point, but I'm finally here. All of the extras that I have attached to it are working exactly as expected. All the standard Furuno stuff was easy enough to set up. I managed to do most of it without the manual. The only thing I needed the manual for was to check whether the offset measurements for the GPS antenna were positive or negative going port and starboard, and where it was measured from longitudinally on the boat and where the height was measured from. Turns out port's negative, starboard's positive. It's measured longitudinally from the bow of the boat, and the height is measured off the keel. And then you've got to do all the same things for the transducers. So it's pretty involved setup to get everything set up right, but getting it all set up right means that it calculates all your heave, roll, pitch and yaw, and smooths the boat motion from the sonar signal so you get a proper picture of what's down on the bottom. My previous unit was supposed to do that. It was supposed to, well, it did have a sensor in the transducer itself, which was supposed to give all that information and smooth it out. However, it wasn't as good as I expected it to be. It was as good as any of those transducer units are, but the satellite antenna that comes with the Furuno does the job properly. I've seen some of the output of it and it is phenomenal. I've had Furuno units on and off in a lot of my boats. Whenever I could afford it, I went with Furuno. When I didn't have enough money, I went with one of the cheaper brands. But Furuno has always been my preference. Now, Furuno has a reputation of being difficult to use because their menus are never easy, and I've helped perpetuate that reputation because I found them to be the same. It takes a big learning curve to learn how to use one properly. However, I'm very pleased to say that this unit, the TZ3, has a very logically laid out menu system. I didn't have any problem learning it without the manual. It was pretty intuitive. You'll see there's some white areas on the screen. They're the areas that the transducer would normally display the sonar images in. The transducers are turned off because, of course, you don't run them when the boat's out of water. You can damage them. I'll be out on the water hopefully within the next couple of weeks and see how all of that works in practice. I'm pretty keen to give it a go. I think the results will justify it, and I hope you all get something out of the videos that it will allow me to produce. Until then, good fishing.